Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Didi. I'm a South African living in New York City, and I'm so happy to say hello and to meet you all. There's about 28 new people who have joined us. I am so happy to have you here. I use this channel, for those of you who don't know, to share some of my inner journey outwardly. I share a lot of my perspectives and a lot of the ways in which that I'm changing and expanding and growing, a lot of the things that I'm learning. And recently I took a trip to South Africa. It was the first time I went home. So South Africa is home. I'm from Garangua. It was the first time I went home in 4 years. Do you understand how long that is? That's a very long time to not be going home. So it was a really important trip for me in so many ways, and it's the first of many trips. Part of the reason why it took me so long to return home after 4 years is because of my permanent residency process and the green card process, which at some point I'll talk about, because I know there's a lot of curiosity around that experience, and I will just say it was long. And every single visa I've ever applied for in my life prepared me for that process. Okay, it was like the big leagues, you know, the big exam that you are preparing for, the small little exams. All the other visas that I prepared for were like the small little exams to lead up to that big exam. But we made it. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so happy. And I don't have to do it again, which is the best part of it. So today I wanted to really talk about the things that I feel make South Africa that bitch. And part of the thing, I think, is that South Africa doesn't know that she's that bitch, which actually makes her even more dope, right? I've just come back, so I'm still reflecting on my experience. I'm still unpacking the experience. I'm still listening to music from home. It has not stopped. I don't think it will stop. And this is my moment to show some love to my home country, right? So I made a list of things, and the order might change because of recent events. The first thing on my list is actually going to surprise you all. Do not throw tomatoes at me, please. The first thing that's on my list is healthcare. Guys, healthcare, okay? And honestly, this is because I'm in this moment comparing the healthcare experience I'm having in New York City with the healthcare experience that I used to have at home. All right, I have been receiving so many surprising bills in the mail that I am ready to just not go to another hospital, medical facility ever again. Like, how am I going to a hospital and then I'm coming home, kenakana, everything is okay, and there's a bill for $3,000 on a random Tuesday arriving at my house? So, controversial thing to say, but I will say that the fact that there is an option in South Africa to get free healthcare is monumental. It is huge. And yes, I understand that there are a lot of issues and a lot of problems and a lot of obstacles that are existing in our healthcare system at home. But I will just say that we are incredibly fortunate to have the option of free healthcare. Granted, it might not be world class in the opinion of a lot of people, but it is world class enough. It is good enough to have a whole system that is upholding a whole bunch of people who do use the system every day. Right? So that's my number one. And honestly, it's because of my own personal things that I've been going through over here. Because, my gosh, it is treacherous. All right? Okay. The second thing, natural beauty. Guys, the nature in South Africa. If you're somebody who did not believe that God exists, you go to South Africa and you're like, I'm a believer. I'm a believer. There is no way you go to South Africa and you're not like, okay, God exists. Mpumalanga. Have you been to Mpumalanga? KwaZulu-Natal, Port Elizabeth, East London. Northern Cape, as dry as it is, has its beautiful spots. You know what I'm saying? Cape Town, we all know Cape Town. Joburg, guys, I was in just driving around Joburg and Pretoria, noticing it's so green. It's so green and beautiful, like the nature. And it's not even, it doesn't even try hard. It just is. It just is, you know? And then the weather. Number 3 is the weather. I don't think I have to overstate this. We all know, if you live in South Africa, you know that we're lucky when it comes to the weather. It is beautiful. It is varied enough for you to feel that you have 4 seasons. But the cold parts, the parts of the seasons that we don't like that much, do not last so long. I will say that, yes, the winter in South Africa does feel a little bit more harsh because of the houses are not built for winter. Whereas somewhere like Sweden or the US where it snows, the winter, like the experience of being in winter is different because the houses are built for the winter. You know what I'm saying? But still, the weather is amazing. Okay, number 4, guys. People have told me about this even before I left the country for the first time. When I was really young, people would actually often say to me, one of the biggest exports, one of the best things about South Africa is the people, is the philosophy ya botho, also known as Ubuntu. I think that if humanity got to a point where we got so lost that we didn't know how to treat each other, South Africa would be a good place to go to learn about that. Now, I will add here, okay, because I'm not confused, that South Africa needs to work on rape culture. Like, that's the one thing that's preventing me from making Botho number 1, because that situation is actually robbing all of us of our shared humanity. It is the thing that makes me wonder, how can a place this beautiful with amazing people like this, a place this incredible, have such an amazing framework around our shared humanity, and also simultaneously be the same place where rape culture is flourishing? How does that work? Who are we prioritizing? Who's getting chucked to the margins? Why? Why is it so prominent? Why is nothing being done that's actively being done? So if it wasn't for that huge gaping hole, the thing of Botho would really be number 1, right? Number 5, the sense of humor. Guys, you know what? South Africans know how to laugh at ourselves. We know how to laugh at ourselves. Something devastating can happen in the country, ne? And I'm telling you, within 10 minutes, you go on Twitter, you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, we're already laughing at ourselves and cracking jokes. And I know that it's a trauma response, actually. I learned that the other day. But I think there's something really beautiful about, as a collective, being able to laugh at ourselves. Not taking ourselves so seriously that we're unable to find the humor in like difficult moments. Like really, that is a huge thing. That's not a small thing to be able to find humor. Like the other day, I was at Garden Center and the electricity went off, load shedding, obviously. And obviously, I was still getting used to it, but I'm not shocked because I'm from South Africa. I used to experience, when I used to experience it, it wasn't load shedding. The electricity just wasn't there because the electricity wasn't there. You don't know when it was going to leave. You don't know when it was coming back. Us and the Prama stuff, we were like this. You know what I'm saying? But in any case, obviously in this moment, it was a load shedding moment, and people just started like cracking jokes here and there, like, yeah, State of the Nation is done now the load shedding starting. Like people were just making jokes. I was inside at Clicks, and people just, little pockets of people making jokes, you know, and I find that really such a beautiful quality, you know, of the country as a whole. I'll put it on the screen. I think I'm number 6 now, or number 7, is the good quality food. Now, this is something that I think I only realized once I left and came back. In the US, there are a lot of options. I actually need to talk about that on another video, like comparing the 2 places that I've lived. Yes, I know New York City is a city. South Africa is a country. I know, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to point it out. I'm aware. But New York City is the only place that I've consistently lived in the US. So I can't help myself. Those are the comparisons that I make. In New York, in the US, there are so many options of things. Like the cereal aisle is an aisle, okay? And I'm not talking about all these Weet-Bix and there's Nutrifix and there's this. No, just cereal. There's a row of just cereal, okay? And then the drinks, like there's just so much more variety of the exact same thing, but the quality And it's also treacherous because you have to look a lot like, oh, is this a good brand? What's in the ingredients? Because the regulations here, because it's a free market economy, not to say that it's not in South Africa, but it's a lot more free market here because it is the capital of capitalism after all. There's less regulations on the food, whereas in South Africa, there are regulations and there's a smaller variety of foods, but the foods we do have are so good. And the quality, like even meat, guys, I almost became vegetarian when I moved here. I need to tell you the story about the day that I bought maotwana. Yo, story for another day. But yeah, quality of the food. Okay. Also, ostrich meat. Hello. Love ostrich meat. Can't find it, I don't think, anywhere else. Probably just in the southern. I need to look it up. Where can you find ostrich meat? Okay, active citizenship, guys. That's the next one. I don't know what number I'm on, but active citizenship is a big one. We engage in our democratic processes, okay? And that is something that I really took for granted because I just was someone who exercised my freedom by, participating in protests and voting and like going to meetings in my community, setting up meetings in my community, starting up initiatives, because I really believed in the power of democracy. Also, I'm part of the Rainbow Nation generation, so I'll confess that that's a big part of why I was really bought into this idea that democracy was important and why I was so engaged. But I will say that there's something about our ability to point out to the people that lead us and to the people that we support to be able to give them feedback about how they should be doing things better. Whereas in other places, I feel like it's a lot of like mudslinging across the fence, right? And of course, that happens too in South Africa, but I think there's also an introspective nature to the way that we engage with our democracy and with our political parties. And that's huge, I think because of apartheid and because of what we've been through, we do not take for granted what it means to have a voice, to have a vote, to have a say. Whether or not that say is used in the way that we feel is the best, that's another conversation. But we are an engaged people and we do exercise our democratic rights. And I think the last one, guys, I'm sorry, I've lost count. Social welfare grants. Now, could they be more? Could they be paid more? Could there be higher amounts paid? Yes. Do I think that there are some challenging effects of having social grants? Yes. But I'm glad we have them. I think that there's something really linked to Boto, seeing each other's shared humanity that is attached to having social welfare grants, whether it's for the oldest people in our societies, right, our elders, or if it's to do with the young people who maybe are unable to support themselves because maybe they had a child young, or a family that is needing some support in some shape or form. I think the fact that people do get grants, the American thing is happening now, where I go grants. I think it's amazing that happens and that we have space for people like that, and that we make it in a way where it's we're using taxable income to do that, and nobody's left out. Now, of course, all the things that I'm mentioning here could be improved, but hey, it is what it is. I think I'm at number 10. I'm not sure, but I'm going to mention this one. Honorable mention: disaster risk management, guys. The fires that happen in Cape Town and how often they've been put out with such professionalism and with such, I would say, great equipment is impressive. And we really have to bow our heads to the people who do that for us, who take on that responsibility, and the fact that our country has maintained itself enough to have the capacity to do that. It's really something. It is remarkable. Again, I am saying these things because I have left the country I live outside the country at the moment, and I'm looking at the country from the inside out. From the outside looking in. And it also means that I have a different perspective because I've been able to leave. And I think that's the only thing that I think is important about leaving. Even though if you never leave the country, you're really in such a wonderful place. Really. I do want to talk about the experience of leaving South Africa and what are the things that I miss most about home. But anyway, before I ramble, because I'm very good at rambling, I'm going to cut it here. There's a lot of things that I wish I could have said differently in the video, but we are taking this year to take the opportunity not to be perfectionists anymore and to be happy that it was done. It does not have to be perfect. I do not have to be perfect. You do not have to be perfect in order to deserve great things, okay? Your work does not have to be perfect in order to exist in the world. Share your work, as janky as it is. I do it all the time. Look at all my videos, janky, jank city. So, thank you so much for joining me. I am looking forward to spending more time with you. I would love to do a get to know me video at some point. But for now, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me. And tell me, what are the things that make you say that South Africa is that bitch? Do you even think that South Africa is that bitch? You know what I'm saying? Is it not? I think she is. I'm infatuated with her. I'm in love with her. And I will be visiting her every single year for the rest of eternity, as long as I can. In any case, thank you for joining me. It's been wonderful. I hope you have a great day further. Goodbye.